Welcome to the Medtech Open Office, the place to be for Medtech experts. I will now introduce you to your hosts, Munir El Azouzi and Adam Isaacs Ray. Enjoy.
Welcome. We have a new episode of the Medtech Open Office, number 3, I think now, or 4?
Number three, yeah.
So let's
get better.
get better.
It's getting better as we go. So we need to coordinate our outfits a bit better, I think, next time.
Yeah.
Just to have some consistency.
Exactly, yeah. So I think, we are back to talk about questions about all this. Answer your questions and maybe also give you some news about maybe the medtech regulation, what is happening, etc. So it's also something that we try to do during this moment. And we are also welcoming all questions from your side. Otherwise, or per email. I think I sent you an email thing. I don't know. I'm checking now if I received any questions.
It did work. Yeah, I seen the email come through.
Or you can also ask questions using, you see the QR code on the top right, which is the Medtech Open Office WhatsApp group. Mainly we create this group just to collect maybe questions, or also to create a community there directly so that people can also directly discuss within this group. So don't hesitate to scan the code. And I can't remember what I have done in terms of the policy for entry. Is it like everybody enters, or if it should be approve everything? I can't remember, so I have to see that. So if you come, I will check mainly if there is anything I have to do to allow the entrance of people there.
Cool.
But so I'm here with Adam Isaacs Ray. I like when it says that as Adam Isaac. So Adam, welcome again. So thanks again for that we are organizing that together.
Yeah.
Anything to say from your side this week? So was your week okay? Everything is okay for the moment?
Yeah, week's been all right. Been doing some audits this week, so can't complain. Everything looks cool. I think usually at the start of this, we usually like to just give a little bit of a, we're really not trying to replace, the Easy Medical Device magazine or any of these, the community in general, the industry's community. We're not trying to replace the news section of that, but it feels right to just we can had a bit of time at the start of these things, just going through some of the main things that we see that have came out recently, and I think definitely within the last 2 weeks, there's been, I think the absolute first one that I know industry has been waiting on was around breakthrough devices. Around the webinar that was, I think it was not last Friday, but the week before. So it was just after we'd done the last Medtech Open Office, like the week after that. So we've not had the chance to discuss it. I've not wrote anything on it because I've been on holiday as well. But the EU Commission essentially done a webinar on breakthrough devices. And they had loads of different speakers on there. So Tom Melvin from University of Galway was on there speaking about the role of expert panels. They basically were discussing the planned rollout of NDCG 2025-9, which was obviously released in December there and produced this new framework. So basically the main thing that came out was, I think no one is to hold their breath, firstly, was the first thing. Everyone was saying, do not expect this tomorrow. But they have opened up, they released a bit more information on the role of the European Medicines Agency within this designation of breakthrough devices, as well as how this will actually work, which is the main thing I think you and I were asking.
Yeah.
I remember we were in Mulhouse discussing this, and they've kind of discussed the framework. So there's going to be a portal that this will be applied through, that will go to EMA. Essentially they've also released the devices that are going to be prioritized, which I think makes sense with regards to the role that breakthrough devices play within public health. They need to be what we see priority for. So I can give you some information on this. It was very interesting. So
maybe the information that is important is, will it look like the same as what the US is proposing in terms of breakthrough, or it will be a completely different way, or are they Because the breakthrough in the US is like, if you are qualified for it, you will have extra forces, if I can say, from the FDA to help you regularly with some meetings, etc., etc. So, did they mention about what is exactly the content of all this?
Not too much on it. What the emphasis was more on the role of identifying a breakthrough device, the role of getting that breakthrough designation confirmed through that process with EMA, and then the role and then most of that clinical consultation procedure with EMA, how that works in particular. That's the main thing, because that's ultimately what the breakthrough devices are trying. This program of breakthrough devices is trying to essentially lessen the clinical evidence requirements for breakthrough devices. So there was less about for this enemy, there was less about this is how much it's going to cost and this blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. It was really more on, EMA are kind of one ring to rule them all now. Their role has extremely increased in terms of the influence they have now, and it was just around that portal that they've set up, and then also defining the devices that are within scope.
So just related to what you said. So do you think that EMA starts to be the new FDA of Europe, or?
I think that's the way we are. I think that's kind of ultimately. I think their role has been expanded significantly, like more so than it has ever been for medical devices, because EMA really had a very, very limited role. I think that we in Europe have no choice but to move towards a regime where we have the resources, like from EMA, because the competent authorities we know do not have the resource that EMA has in that sense. The notified bodies also do not. There's also been some obviously interesting documentation coming out around notified bodies in the last week or so, around the kind of changes that have been made to their fees structure as well. Amendments are now kind of being drafted and released. That's a really, really big change to the regulatory system. So I think what I'll do is we'll make sure to send some information out, because there is honestly about 50 PowerPoints in this one PowerPoint that was released.
Let's put maybe on the WhatsApp group maybe some links or some information that people can directly get, which will oblige them to then go to the WhatsApp group. This is the strategy here.
We'll just force people down that content route.
Exactly.
So that's the main thing on that. It's really hard to sum up in a few minutes, but there is lots of good information there. The main thing I would say would just be for people to go to the list of criteria to see what the first phase, because they identify a phase, see if your device meets that criteria for that phase. It's probably not going to, but I would recommend everyone to have a look there to understand at what phase, if you have a novel device, you think it may fall in, because what it basically does is it introduces a criteria. If your device does not make it, you can still apply, but you're not gonna get that breakthrough designation, but you might go into the queue.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, the objective of this breakthrough device program is mainly to accelerate the entry of some breaking through devices to the market. So life-sustaining, I suppose. I mean, there is some criteria to make it like a breakthrough device, like it should be life-sustaining, like curing a disease that is really major, etc. So this is mainly the criteria. I suppose it will be the same as what the US is providing also for their solution. But I think it's interesting that we are moving in that direction, because US has done it. UK also talked about it, and now Europe is starting to say, oh, maybe we should do it, which makes it more competitive also for manufacturers to say, we are breakthrough, we have more, it's easier for us to access the US market than Europe, so why should we start with Europe? So it's mainly something that can be important. And also a priority way, because mainly if you are starting to arrive in a waiting list and you are at the end in front of some class 2A device or class device that are not really major advantage or major strategic for the public health, it makes no sense also. So
exactly. So I found that what they've said here is the pilot, they're calling it phase 1A or phase A, eligible devices for this pilot, which they're accepting applications until the 22nd of May this month. for the devices in scope that are eligible are Class 3 medical devices and Class 2B active medical devices intended to administer or remove medicinal products from the body. And they will also prioritize the following types of devices in this phase, being cardiovascular devices and devices intended for pediatrics, so children.
Okay.
So basically, they're going to only select 5 applications from this first phase.
Yeah, because it's the pilot. So the pilot is mainly about testing if they see working. So they will just select. 5 is not a lot. So I suppose they will receive a lot of demand, and will have to select the one that is more matching what they are looking for.
It's interesting because for the MHRA Airlock Phase 1, the MHRA AI Airlock, there was only 4 organizations there, and I know there was a lot of applications there just for the UK. For EMA to only have 5 open for the entire EU is really not a lot.
It's
so
it's also they have a lack of resources, or
it makes this, again, I would really recommend everyone to have a look at Tom Melvin's presentation and that and the deck that was produced, because he speaks about the role of expert panels and the potential issues that we may face, looking.
So it's something that you will provide on the WhatsApp, or it's something
I'll provide it on the WhatsApp. Yeah, it's all. Okay. It's Professor.
So don't hesitate to go there on the WhatsApp to get all those information from Adam. What else we can talk about?
So
now?
One other thing that I would like to kind of have a little discussion around was again, just kind of, as it seems like every time we do one of these shows, some massive things happen within the next few days, and then we're like, oh, we've not got another one for 2 weeks. So the INDRF have released a consultation for the artificial intelligence lifecycle management as a technical framework. This is open for consultation now. It's been open since 10th of April, which I believe was the exact day that the MHRA consultation closed.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there. If they're just doing this deliberately, they know everyone's busy. This INDRF document is very interesting from the role. You can see where they're looking at taking this really around how we govern the development and that life cycle of AI, medical devices, or AI within medical devices. This is from their working group. So I would really encourage everyone to have a look at that and provide any input from industry on this, because this is, ISO 42001 is here. So artificial intelligent management systems. This is now coming here. We are now very quickly, all of a sudden, with this document and 42001, we are really approaching a stage where we look to potentially kind of be moving towards standards for AI development, and the INDRF documentation will obviously be applied in a different way to, say, a harmonized standard in that way. So I think it's really important for everyone just to have a look at this and start knowing what's going on. It talks around model drift, tuning, use of synthetic data, the role of humans being within the loop for that, and then how that ties into clinical evaluation and V&V for general devices, and target, as well as transferability of target population data for clinical data. A very interesting document. It is the way everything's going to be going. And I think it's something that I would like to encourage people to have a look at, so we have some good minds on it.
So the consultation is for everybody, so we can all answer. It's for everybody.
Yeah, you can go in and put your views on it, and I can send some more details on that. But it's a proposed document, and you can send some information on it. Any concerns regarding the consultation? Yeah, they've got a working group with an email address that we can post as well on this.
Okay.
See if there's anything in there.
Yeah, just for people also to see what we talk about, and if they are. Everybody is now starting to work with AI, so I think it's something that can be really interesting also for them.
We cannot escape it. And then the last thing on the AI kind of side of things was just around something I've not seen a lot of industry talking about, maybe because it happened in February, but the Therapeutic Goods Act, the TGA. Sorry, I always nearly say Therapeutic Goods Act, but TGA essentially became one of the first agencies, I believe, to kind of be really clear on artificial intelligence as a medical device, or its role within medical devices. They gave some really, really clear examples of what constitutes as medical devices when AI is involved. It's on the link on the website. So, for example, one here is that this is just for Australia, obviously, no one else. So before people start clipping this and freaking out, one example that they gave was clinical decision support tools that use generative AI to provide diagnostic or treatment recommendations. So these are what we would kind of start to refer to in the UK as like ambient scribes type things.
Okay.
They're starting to listen to conversations, and they're gonna like start producing summaries of what you're saying. The UK hasn't really got a firm stance within the regulatory system on this at the moment. The EU, it very much they will all just fall under Rule 11. Just everything
exactly.
does. TGA are the first kind of to come out with this really clear guidance on this at the moment that we've kind of seen, that there's in such a clear way. So again, I would really recommend people to have a look at that, look at the examples that they specified there. TGA also part of IMDRF, part of MDSAP. So, in that sense, it shows.
It means also if we follow what TGA is proposing here, we should be fitting with mainly all the regions, also even EU mainly, because it's the idea. I mean, Australia normally is following also what EU is doing, so there is also a link between EU and Australia.
Yeah, that's it. So it's kind of, this was a bit, TGA, I know they're the TGA are kind of like the UK MHRA in a way, and although they haven't had all of the drama of Brexit in the last few years to manage, so they're a very agile regulatory agency that can make guidance quickly, and they're very firm, so their stance to me represents where industry is going to be moving in the next few years. So I think it's really, that's why I thought it was worth kind of having a discussion about, because it seems to be where we're going to all move. It's probably where I foresee the UK is going to end up as well, in the same way. But we've not had the pre-market legislation in the UK yet.
Okay, great.
Those are I wanted to share on my update. That was only meant to take 5 minutes. It took 20. But
yeah, so we have also another update. It's about UDAMED. Mainly, just a reminder that we have this date of the 28th of May 2026. I have some customers that are in panic and contacting us. And I remind them that, guys, there is a transition for products that were already on the market before. So if your product is already on the market before this date, you have until November 28th this year to comply with the UDAMED. So this date of the 28th of May is mainly for new products that will be on the market. After this date, it will be then mandatory for those products to be directly registering within UDAMED. So no panic, everything is okay normally. But the advice is always to do it as soon as possible so that you are not like in a rush. We can help you, so just contact us for that. But mainly, you have to have some organized data. We can also help you to organize your data. But the idea here is that you should be able to register your device if you plan to have your device on the market after the 28th of May 2026, which means that when you will be registering your company, when you will be placing your device on the market, it should be already registered on the UDAMED before you can place the device on the market, which means that it should be approved by the competent authority of your country, of where you are, or of your authorized representative if you are outside of Europe, before that you can sell the device. So it means also, I mean, this is what means mandatory. Mainly it means that you have first to obtain the authorization approval from the UDAMED before you can then start to sell the device on the market.
It feels really strange, doesn't it? I feel like industry has been shouting and pushing for UDAMED, and now all of a sudden we are having to say to industry and people, you need to do this now. It feels so weird. It's like, for years, industry has been saying to the commission, like, where is UDAMED? What is going on? And then now it's like, here it is, and we're all like, oh no.
Exactly. And UDAMED also, they released the vigilance reporting module also. I mean, I see it. To be honest, I haven't find it on the UDAMED page, but I find it on because as I have access to UDAMED for my authorized representative activities, So we have then directly the module available on inside the platform. So I don't know when the official release of the vigilance reporting will be done, but actually inside the platform we have an access to test it, if I can say. If it's more a playground to test it for also the transfer of data, because we are working on the transfer of data directly. And the vigilance is one data that they are authorizing you to fill and to transfer. I don't know how it will look like, but for the moment, we see some signals that the vigilance reporting module will be released in a few moments, or they are just testing and verifying before to make the official release. But it's there, and if it's released, it's just for testing, or it's not. It will not be mandatory again, because we have to wait always 6 months after the first release to get an audit and everything before it will be mandatory. So it's mainly for that. Yeah. Okay, so for people that are listening to us now, if you can maybe just say that you are first hearing what we are saying and where you are from, can be great, just to not feel alone here. And I see also that it's today or tomorrow, I don't know. There is the RAPS Convergence conference also in Lisbon.
I think it's tomorrow as well. So there's
tomorrow. It's tomorrow.
Okay, I think it's on. It's been on all week, I think.
Sorry, it's during the week?
I think it's been on. I think it's on today. I think it was on yesterday.
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, a couple of days.
Yeah. So as you may understand, we are not at RAPS Convergence this year. But I see a lot of messages on LinkedIn that many people are there and making pictures, so it's great.
Yeah.
So yeah, mainly there are a lot of conferences that are coming. There is a conference, Team PRC, I think that are planning the ones in October or November.
And Prague.
When?
And I think it will be October, and it's in Prague.
Okay, it's in Prague. Okay, so we have multiple conferences that are starting now to be planned for. It's always, I mean, a lot are happening in September, October, November. So I don't know if this is.
I don't know why.
Because it's the end of the year, they have to spend the budget before the end of the year. Or I don't know, but
possibly. Yeah, I don't know. They're all in Europe, and it's really, really warm in like September in Prague. Like it's really like super, super hot.
Yeah, we have somebody listening from Lithuania, so it's great. So thank you, as the organa.
Cool. I also have if the kind of questions are a little bit quiet, I have some questions. I have some stuff that came up this week on the topic of PRRC.
Okay, so tell me.
That I thought would be kind of cool to discuss. So around the role of this requirement that seems to exist around the amount of PRRCs in place. If you're say you're a consultant and you have like several PRRCs, this kind of thing around how that works. So I was approached around conducting some PRRC activity, and it's not something I do a lot of it as much anymore at the moment, because I find it a role that if you're an external PRRC, it's quite a challenging role to so whereas I was approached to be an external PRC and said, it's not really my thing. However, I can help you with your PRC internally, but not be it. So it was around this requirement that seems that you can only be a PRRC for one organization type thing.
Where is it written?
It's not really. But
maybe when you are a big organization, yes, because you have to be hired by this organization, like more than 50 employees, more than 1 million in turnover.
Yeah,
but for small businesses, I don't think. I think it's like as long as you are available for them and working and you can answer that question, I suppose it's fine. I mean, you have to look again at the text, at the MDCG, etc. But
yeah,
I never heard that you cannot, as a consultant, that you cannot be the PRC for more than one. I know that I looked at some PRCs and I see their name everywhere.
Yeah,
and I think it's a bit too much sometimes, to be honest. It's like you have 10 businesses that you are PRC for. I say, okay, so it's I don't know how you do that, because it's really a lot of work to verify all the documentation and everything. But yeah.
I think I don't think it's written down from it won't literally say you can only do it for this one company, but I know that in the MDCG document for it, which was, I can't remember that off the top of my head, but the MDCG document on Article 15 that was released, I think a couple of years ago now, went into detail around the meaning of permanently available, permanently and continuously available.
I thought that with this new proposal of the UMDR, they will remove this of permanent availability. I think I heard they will
something.
This is the proposal to remove that, to make it more simple. I don't know. I have to verify that again, but I remember on our discussions maybe that there was this kind of thing. So
I hope I do hope that is the case, because I think
because it was difficult. I mean, permanently and continuously available. What does it mean? At 3 a.m. you have to be awake for them, or I mean, it's why those kind of wording is important to clarify. But removing them is better. So then we are doing business and we are okay, etc. But PRC I think is a role that was a bit with too much requirements at the beginning, which made it a bit like difficult to be a PRC. And even with this rule in Italy, for example, if you are making something wrong, you as a PRC, you have to go to prison. So it's like nobody wants to be a PRC for that. So yeah, it's mainly the thing that we have to be careful for this.
Yeah.
I see our Azurgana that says, I have lots of questions, so great. I would love to have discussion with you, but the amount of symbols for chat message is limited. Okay, thank you. Love you guys. So don't hesitate, man. I mean, don't hesitate. We say that to everybody, so don't hesitate to ask your questions, so no worry at all. We are really ready to answer them. Hope they will not be too difficult, or I will have to use some AI tools to help me on this.
Absolutely, yeah. No,
are you using AI tools now for helping you on some of those questions, of the things?
The AI, I think, it just became part of my normal life and day to day. In a way, I'm very careful with the use of it. Especially since the FDA released some information on this last week, basically shouting at everyone for using AI in their submissions. Did you see that?
No. What they said? Tell me. I like gossips. Tell me gossips.
Yeah. So the FDA basically released a letter. Like a warning letter, like shouting at people, just basically giving industry into trouble for over-reliance of AI within submission, essentially.
So it means the document they submitted were AI generated.
So yeah, they've obviously detected that, companies are using this kind of stuff, and as one of their warning letters,
you have to give us this warning letter on the group. You have to.
Yeah. I will.
I want to see that.
I think it was within. I think this was more pharmaceutical though.
Okay, but it's fine. I mean, we are only in the healthcare business, so it's fine. We learn from our cousins from pharma. It's fine.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe we'll get these letters in 20 years. So basically they said, you used AI to create drug product specific requirements, procedures, master production or control of records, and then if you used that, you must review AI generated documents to ensure they're compliant with CGMP. Failure to do so is a violation of CFR 20. Basically their GMP document.
I saw some submission. I don't know if it was that, but I saw some submission where the guy that used AI, he generated the content that he has to use. And you know that when you are using ChatGPT, at the end, there is always a sentence, I can generate this in a format of this or that. Or if you want, I can do, he gives some suggestion of what can be the next step for this kind of thing. So I saw that he copied also this section and he placed it on the documents. I don't know if it was a submission or anything, but it was like a document that is provided. And at the end, it was like, obviously, it's coming from AI generated, because Manny was doing that. So I'm not against AI generation of the documents. It's just read what is generated, correct it, verify what it says, etc. Because it's obvious that it's easier for maybe a consultant or even a company to say, let's understand mainly what is the rule for that. I mean, sometimes what we are doing, even me, I try to understand the question that we are asked. And sometimes I say, for me, here is my answer. What would be my answer? Let's see what ChatGPT is saying, or let's see what he's saying. And sometimes it's always the same answer, but sometimes it provides some nuances because you forgot this or you forgot that. So it helped you also to think again, to get inspired a bit of some of the answer. But yeah, never. I saw some people say that also, that say, yeah, when I get a question, I just send it to ChatGPT, I copy paste and send it back. I say, not really the best strategy, because ChatGPT is just like a young junior assistant. Is not like the expert that you think it is. So it's really important here.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really spending quite a lot of my time at the moment correcting work by other people that have just over relied on AI, you know. So yeah, I'm very, very careful with the use of it from a confidentiality perspective of, you know, of intellectual property, and then also generally just a quality of work perspective. You know, I'm still I see the use of it in our society, but yeah, I'm still.
No, it's also another point here that is important. I have, for example, we had a manufacturer that came to us with a classification of products. So it's easy, it's a classification, so it's not going to be a big deal. So he came to me and he said, "Oh, my classification is that." And I looked at it and I said, "No, it's not that. It's another classification." And he said, "No, because I asked ChatGPT and he told me it's that." And I said, "Okay, can you share with me what did you ask ChatGPT exactly?" And when he has ChatGPT, he just say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I have this product. It's for that thing. Can you give me the classification?" So just few lines of things without explanation of the mode of action, the intended use, the intended purpose, all those things. So at the end, yes, you can use ChatGPT, but even me as an expert, if I have an assistant, I have to explain to him more details about the products, what it is used for. Is it surgical? Is it not surgical? Does it use energy or not energy, etc.? And these details, you cannot know them if you have never done the classification by yourself, or if you don't know the regulation, or if you don't know. So you can use ChatGPT and I can use ChatGPT, and you will get completely different answers. Because mainly I'm using it in a way where I give him the detail that I will give to a consultant to make really a classification correct. Somebody that has no clue about that will just ask a basic question, will get an answer, but the answer will be, even sometimes the answer is like, in that case, it will be that, but in that case, it will be that, but in that case, it will be that. If it's transient use, it will be that, but what means transient use? They don't know what means transient use. So then it's also those things that really we have to be careful of.
Yeah. I see Azorgana's got a question there on.
There is Azorgana. So planning to manufacture device, substance-based, non-sterile, in-house for clinical investigation. Later use contract manufacturing. Any advice what to consider to later prove we achieve device of the same quality?
Cool.
Planning to manufacture device, non-sterile, in-house, clinical investigation. Okay. So it's like manufacturing. Yeah, it's manufacturing like a design product. And then manufacturing as a mass-produced device. So mainly here, the point will be more about, we have verification and validation. So mainly this is some point that have to be clarified here, where you have some elements that you can verify, which means verification, which means 100%. And there are things that you can validate, which means mainly that if you verify it, you will have to destroy it. I'm always using the example of sterilization. If you are verifying every sterile pack, it's not sterile anymore. So you have to validate that. But there is part where you can verify, for example, dimensions. You say, "Oh, I will verify 100% of the dimension," but in real production, I will make a validation of this production. So then I will verify by sampling by AQL for that. So it's mainly that. So you have to show that mainly the device that you have manufactured before or for the clinical investigation by yourself is exactly the same in comparison to the one with the contract manufacturer. My best advice is to use really the contract manufacturer already to manufacture this kind of device, but I know that the engineering manufacturing is different for the mass production. So engineering manufacturing is mainly manufactured by hand or manually or with machines of engineering or design machines. We have sometimes in manufacturers, we have a small design workshop because they will manufacture some samples, some prototypes, something, etc. So it's mainly what they are sometimes using for that. But the point is mainly to compare. As it's a substance base, here is to compare before and after, to compare both and to show that it's exactly the same process, the same way, the same parameters, the same machine type, if I can say, and the same result at the end. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's gonna looks like it's gonna, if it's on the EU or UK, it's gonna need a notified body or approved body intervention. So they will look for the clinical development of this device from the beginning of the files to the end. Or for the device you intend to market, they want to see that the DMR, so the device master record essentially, and the transfer history for the device that you're submitting as part of that is representative of the final product of what you intend to market. So if you change manufacturer, then you need to obviously consider changes of, I think you just said about biocompatibility, all of these elements that will change as a result of that. But I would really say, like Monier said, around is in your design control project. If you can get in with the manufacturers early, because it's different building something small batch, especially with substances, versus building something for manufacturing. But I would say run this through a design control project. You cannot have a clinical investigation without user needs. The no user needs, no medical device. This is my favorite phrase in industry. If there's no user needs, there's no medical device, because there's nothing to validate. And then
Exactly.
there's no.
All this should go through a design control process. So with the design development process, with the user needs, design input, design output, risk management, all those things should be in place. So yeah, it's obvious here. Yeah. We have a continued part apparently.
Yeah, this is like that.
Do not have a controlled environment. Will it be in-house to log temperature, humidity, and, for example, the disinfect and do sedimental control before the manufacturing in-house? I mean, all those things. Yes, I mean, we don't have the details of the products or whatever. But the first point is, as Adam said, mainly first, what is the user need? What it is for? What are the design input to do? And then what are the risks also? And the risks are mainly the elements that will define what you should do to reduce this risk. If there is a risk of contamination, then yes, disinfection of the surface will be important. If there is a risk due to temperature, humidity, etc., then yes, the logging of the temperature, humidity will be important, etc., etc. But if these risks exist for you in-house, it will also exist for the contract manufacturer. So then you'll have to, again, repeat that with the contract manufacturer. Remember, we talked about the verification. With the contract manufacturer, I suppose it will be a full validation, if I may think so. That would be like you have to validate everything. So anyway, the validation should show that the product is exactly the same as what you have done in-house. So it's why I'm saying this comparison, as it's a substance. So here I think it's maybe, I don't know if it's easier. I don't have that much experience with substance-based, but I suppose that it's a comparison before and after of the composition, of the viscosity, of whatever, and then a comparison after of it to verify it's working. But the risk, as I said, doing that is also, as you mentioned, Adam, is about biocompatibility or compatibility with a human being that will be using that, etc. Will there be any difference due to the fact that you are using different machines or different fluids or different disinfectant or different things? So these changes can be justified and say, no, it's not, it's exactly the same product, or no, the disinfection before and after was the same result as when we have done it in-house also, etc. So you can have some justification, but you should not think that it's obvious, like, oh, I have done it in-house, so it will be working with the contract manufacturer. Because in-house, you control. It's your place, it's your thing, so you control. What is the contract manufacturing doing? Can be maybe a foreign place, so you have also to really inform them of what you are expecting. So it's really a full project to look at that. But the first point that you are mentioning are correct. It's just that I'm not sure if this is enough, but this is correct. You have to do that, but you have to link all this to a risk-based approach. I mean, to risk management, to why you are doing that. So the answer, the question is mainly why you are doing that.
Yeah, the I suppose as Organa, the question of, we do not have a controlled environment, would it be enough to log temperature, humidity? Then, as Monier said, I would really begin with that risk analysis. 14971, the identification of hazards of characteristics relating to safety for the device. is the first point that calls this out, really. So that will enable you to ask that question. The checklist that's the checklist in Annex A or Annex C of 24971, the guidance document, is obviously a list that is standardized. It is not exhaustive, so you can add elements of characteristics that you may wish to have for your device within there. That could be contamination of substance when in device, for example. One I have seen, Munir, that I like to do now, especially for software devices now, because the guidance document for 14971 is obviously a few years old, but I like to add a few questions relating to machine learning at the end now. So within my identification of characteristics relating to safety for a medical device, especially if it's an SAMD, I add some questions on the end to say, does this device have generative AI? Does this have like any AI within it at all, for example, types things. So I think, Azorgana, I would really encourage you to begin with that exercise first. Get a copy of 24971 and consider that you should be running a design control project for this, and the output of your risk management should be going into that design control project.
Because when I read the question again, here it says we do not have a controlled environment, but we have to log the temperature, humidity, disinfect, etc. surface. So it's like you are creating a controlled environment, but I don't know if it's a controlled environment. So it's why it's a bit. And here it's more about you to decide if your device, which is non-sterile, from what we read before, needs a controlled environment or not. Does need a aseptic thing. What is the risk if it's not sterile? So what is the risk if it's delivered non-sterile, etc.? So is there a risk also that the product is contaminated or not? I mean, those questions, as I said, are really important to ask and to answer before you are deciding what control or what things you have to put in place.
Yeah, and just to finish this, sorry, Munir, just on the disinfection of surfaces and control before the manufacturing, that would really kind of move out from your hazard analysis, I suppose, more into manufacturing, like FMEAs. So looking for particular failure modes within your manufacturing process. This is where, again, you can come at risk management from two angles: from harm, deductive, or from FMEA, the other side of it, where you're looking at kind of, bottom up failures, basically. So I'd say between the two of those, integrated into your design control system is where you should be able to answer some of these questions. But as Munir said, it's up to you to define if you need a controlled environment. And if I really put my auditor hat on, it's up to you to prove to me that you don't need a controlled environment.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Great. So, did you get any weird question also this week, Adam?
Yeah. I've got a few. Yeah, if you like, I can bring some up. Nothing too weird. One element that I think I'd like to just speak around is just on there's many distributors, distribution of medical devices, but not being a legal manufacturer. Yeah. I think I thought this was over a few years ago, this whole thing when, I remember like 3 years ago, authorized reps, importers, distributors was a really hot topic. Distributors is still the one that is still not. It still seems to be causing industry like a little bit of confusion, on this.
Because they are not registering on UDAMED, so they have less.
In general, yeah, I think across the EU and from the UK, I see this. The role, and especially when one particular instance, when you see organizations that are the distributor, technically the distributor, but they have their brand name on the device.
Okay.
So kind of what we would maybe start referring to as virtual manufacturing or, private labeling type things. These are, I've just been getting a lot of kind of queries on this in the last few weeks around exactly what do we need to do if I'm a distributor and where does my role stop, especially if you're a distributor that is acting as the UKRP or your authorized rep.
Yeah.
Which, obviously there was a stance put out by the MDCG that you cannot fulfill more than one role as an economic operator, essentially. It's not really enforced though. So, I just think this is something that I do not see industry cleaning it up anytime soon, and it just continues to keep going, So, my advice for this, really, what I'd be saying is I see a lot of companies that act as the AR as well as the distributor, or the UKRP as well as the distributor. So that's fine if that's the way that is going, but they are very different roles. They are very, very different roles. And I would really just caution taking those both of those responsibilities on if you have to. If for example, if you're in the UK, the UKRP, you become that person that's the foot in country for the MHRA to inspect. And I don't think people realize that when they say, "Yeah, I'll be a distributor and your UKRP." You kind of say, "Well, you really should be owning their registration, managing on the doors database for the UK." And you kind of see this as a bit missing at the moment.
Yeah, for me, I see more the inverse, which is mainly that distributors don't want to be authorized representative, don't want any regulatory things to deal with. They say, I accept to take your product and to distribute it to anywhere, but I want to give out all these regulatory things. So give it to anybody else to do it, but I'm not in charge of that. So it's why we have created our service of importer, regulatory importer. So we don't take care about any taxes or whatever things, but regulatory importer. Just because they were afraid of this kind of thing. So hearing that some distributors are still willing to be distributor and authorized representative, etc., if they have no experience in the regulatory field or have nobody from their side taking care of the regulatory field, I'm finding it a bit problematic. But yeah, I mean, I suppose no, because if they are also authorized representatives, they have to have a PLC, unless it is a remote PLC again, because it's a small business also. So we have a lot of things like that. But it's not really recommended to do things if you don't have the right people to manage the regulatory piece. But yeah, I would.
It's also the roles that the different economic operators play within the regulatory system. So the manufacturer has a layer of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
They contract the authorized rep who has a layer of different responsibilities, and then the loop goes up to have different levels of verification and control through the regulatory essentially and the public health system. So I think that when everyone starts doing one thing, then it kind of goes against the nature of these roles that are in place.
Exactly, because normally the rule of the EUMDR or IVDR was like everybody's watching what everybody's doing. So if everybody is everybody, so I cannot watch what I'm doing for the other things. It's like it's mainly the issue here.
Exactly. So that's just one thing that I didn't expect to be coming up still, but it's kind of still continuing to go up. I'm still seeing industry still kind of talking about it quite a lot. So what about yourself? Has anything came up for you?
No, actually we are working with the customer because for people maybe to listen, because if you are IVD class C, you have a deadline until the 26th of May 2026. So we have now customers that are one customer specifically that is coming mainly because you want help to obtain a notified body agreement and then do all the technical documentation, etc., all the rest. So now we have less than 20 days, so 15 days or a bit less. to find notified body for them and to sign the agreement, which can be challenging. But this is mainly a thing that have to people to remember that there are sometimes some deadlines. So this deadline, for example, let's say 26th of May 2026. It's a deadline just for you to apply. Means what? That you have already selected a notified body. They already provided you a quotation. You like them, so it's fine. You want to work with them. So now you apply to say officially, I want you to be my notified body. Then it's not finished because I had the case a long time ago, but I had the case. As soon as you apply, then the notified body is starting to look at your dossier, everything, checking this and that, etc. And then in September, then they have a deadline till September to officially sign the agreement with you.
Yeah.
Which means, and it happens to me once, we thought that this notified body was okay, but we forgot that there was one MDR code, which was a MDS something, that the notified body that this manufacturer selected was not doing at all. So we sent the application, and 1 month later, it was during the summer, the notified body came back to them and said, no, we are not able to do this product for you because we are not able to do this MDS blah 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 code, etc. So it was a catastrophe for this company because they cannot sell from that day. They cannot sell anymore the device. It means that mainly they are not authorized anymore to sell the devices because they don't have an agreement with notified body, so they cannot do the extension and this thing. So this is the same case here. There is a process of selection of a notified body, which means that you have to verify all the codes and all the things. For this one, it's IVDR code, so IVR, IV, and we have a lot of IV codes also to verify the notified bodies. And for example, we have 19 notified bodies, I think, now for IVDR. So with this manufacturer, we made the selection of all the IV codes, and we find that there is only 11 of them that can do that. So now we are contacting not 11 of them, we are selecting 5 of them to contact them. And now we will be precise with them about what is the product, what is everything, so that they confirm to us, yes, we can do it. It's not a problem, that there is no like a notion that we forgot. Because again, it's a catastrophe for the manufacturers. If they cannot prove that, they don't benefit from this extension of the period until 2028. And then they have to stop selling their device, and then they have to comply immediately with the IVDR, for example, for this customer. So again, you have 15 days now to have a notified body signature on application, and then until September for the signature. Otherwise, you have to stop your selling in Europe, which means you can sell everywhere else. It's just Europe you cannot sell anymore.
Yeah. I would also just like to add on this, I was doing some work recently where submitted application kind of received, accepted, contract award, and notified bodies, more notified bodies now are requesting submission documentation at contract award stage.
Exactly.
So that can be, I think if that's kind of what you were referring to there as well, Munir, that can be a really, because all of a sudden they're going to start asking for PMS plans and all this kind of stuff. And they're going to say, don't worry, it's a draft. We're not, they basically want to filter out time wasters. But, the regulatory professional in me, you cannot submit substandard documentation to a notified body at any time in your conformity assessment process, even if it's draft documentation, kind of thing. I still would be very reluctant to share documentation that I don't think's quite up to scratch, So I think that can catch people out when you have deadlines. They want documentation even before.
So this is important point here because, until now, you had, if I can say, the control of this, the control of the submission, because you can negotiate with them. Now, when we enter with this extension of transition period, it's not under your control anymore. It's under the notified body control, which means what? Means the notified body has maybe a lot of some slots, as we call them, some slots for because we have some resource available to take a dossier. And maybe the slots is available immediately now, but will not be available later. So then they will oblige you to submit now. And this is the risk of some manufacturers to say, oh, let's first sign the agreement and then we have time to submit. No, it's not you who decide, it's the notified body. Because the notified body can say, guys, I want really to offer you another slot, but I don't have another opportunity. All the other slots are booked by other customers. We have only those ones. So you have also to be negotiating clearly with the notified body to say, before I apply to you, I don't have all my technical file ready. I maybe will have that in September 2027, for example. Is it fine for you that we are meeting this timeline? And if you say, no, we don't have slots at that moment, we have that earlier. So then you may need to choose another notified body because, as I said, there are multiple that are available. But don't make this decision. Don't think that this will be negotiable after. Negotiate the negotiation before that you are making the application, just because you want to explain to them, here is my situation. Don't make me like I never told you that before we make the application.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think we're kind of nearly out of time here. But I think the last thing I just wanted to mention was that I've just seen, which was on the open evidence. Open evidence pulling they've kind of now you cannot access it from the UK and the EU.
Open evidence, what is
Open
that?
evidence was it's like an AI kind of doctor type thing. That's only listed. It was only it's an American kind of tool. It's like an AI co-pilot, they called it, for doctors. And just in the last 2 weeks, they pulled the availability and accessibility for the UK and EU, citing, I'll tell you, due to mounting regulatory uncertainty regarding the treatment of AI systems in the European Union and United Kingdom, including, among other rules, the EU Artificial Intelligence Act, open evidence is not available in the European Union or the United
Kingdom. So it's
very, very interesting time. This,
I mean, it's interesting time because it's. I understand the regulation that should be tough and everything to control, but innovation comes first. Regulation should come later, if I can say. So it's mainly something that where you give some opportunities and you will see what are the limits, what are the things that you can regulate now. But here it looks like we are regulating and without really giving some opportunity to move forward.
Well, this was perceived, the open evidence, them pulling from the EU and the UK has been perceived quite badly by industry because people are saying is open evidence is essentially trying to strong arm industry into saying, well, we are just going to not put this amazing product on the market, kind of thing. But I think it's quite an interesting thing.
There is another question here. So, Azure Ghana, you are the star of the show today.
Okay.
What criteria would you suggest for selecting a notified body apart from their MDR scope and pricing? Prices are quite similar. Initial meetings are similar. I would not say prices are similar because really it depends. I have few quotations and the prices are different. It's not the prices also. Maybe the prices are similar, but the way to pay also, like pay in advance, not in advance. Also the way to offer rounds of question, because we have now some notified body that say included with this price there will be one round of question or thing because of that. So there are a lot of things that they can offer also. Yeah. But to be honest, I mean, for me, choosing a notified body is a lottery. It's really a lottery.
Yeah.
I know the big one like BSI or TÜV or those ones, they are big, so they have enough resources to manage you, etc., and maybe to be on time and maybe to have the liberty to be a bit tough with you, like I said, to be because like I said, they make that. But for other notified bodies, they can say to you, yes, we are available, we can do everything, it's a price, etc., and then after the commercial close the call and finalize the agreement, now you go to the technical part, and now maybe nobody will answer to you because they are all too busy with working on different things. So this is a lottery. It's why I'm saying that sometimes we try to select the right one. Here is a strategy that we are doing. We are never choosing a notified body for our customer. We always provide them a panel of 4 or 5 notified bodies. We try to make a meeting with each notified body one by one with the customers. We try to explain to them, here are the advantages of one or the other. But at the end, I tell them, and we tell them from the beginning, we say, we will never choose a notified body for you because we cannot guarantee that the notified body will execute what he's telling you during the calls. So I don't want to take the responsibility to say we missed a certification or because the notified body was not responsive, or because you had an issue with them, etc. So it's why they have to take the responsibility for taking the notified body. And this is made that. But price is helping sometimes when it's lower. But to be honest, I have, for example, the one that I told you, the IVD guy, I asked him, which is there a budget for notified body or which one you want to take? He said to me, we are at 15 days from losing our sales in Europe. I will not look at prices, so give me the one that will accept. So it's
absolutely, that's a good point. Yeah, I'd say that they're all designated to the same standard. They're all so the price. I know what you mean about price is different, but I'd say like I'd really make sure that you're confident with who you're deciding, why. But there really is no such thing as a better one or a worse one. These horror stories we hear of devices ending up being pulled from the market and stuff like that, it's really not the notified bodies issue when that happens. There's obviously been issues with technical documentation or quality system audits. So, I'm not going to kind of criticize any notified body. They have some excellent professionals working for them, so yeah, I think I'd say, yeah, as long as they've got the code, up to you.
Exactly. Another question from Anis Ben Brahim. Oh, I know Anis. Hi, Anis. So if the confirmation letter from the new notified body indicates the product and the old certificate issued by the former notified body in table 1, which marking should be indicated on the packaging?
The old one.
The old one, yeah, because the new one has not certified you. The new one is accepting to take you as a customer. So they're accepting to take your dossier for MDR. But for the moment, your product is not MDR or IVDR. Your product is under scrutiny by this new notified body. But the old one is still valid for the moment until it's not. So this is the old one. I had a case where the old notified body was not able to continue business anymore. So then it was the competent authority that took the place of the notified body. But to be honest, at that point, I didn't know for this manufacturer what is on the marking, because is it the old notified body number, knowing that it's not them that is taking care of that anymore, or is there any other marking? Because I should have asked this customer, what is the marking now that you are under the protection of the authority? So yeah.
Probably, I mean, for this, definitely, it will have to just be the previous what the device is CE marked for, because no change can occur. Well, it's under transition, and then obviously if it's moving into the new file, they'll want to change that.
Yeah. Interesting question from Azur Ghana. I was also surprised by that. So another thing, I saw some notified bodies that are starting to price the structured dialogue. Will it become a common thing for notified bodies? I had the experience with the first notified body. I will not say the names. The first notified body where it didn't price it. It was fine. We had a good dialogue. This is the point with the structured dialogue. They can do a structured dialogue before signing the application and after. You have to know that the structured dialogue before signing the application is a real light one. They will not tell you too much. They will really just share with you some guidances of or articles of things, but they will not really give you too much hint. But it helps you to understand how they are thinking and how they are doing. And I had the experience with another notified body that when we asked him for the structured dialogue, they asked us to pay first. So, what are you talking about? So
I've heard that. Yes.
And finally, and we saw the price. It was really pricey, to be honest. And finally, the customer said, "Okay, let's go with the one that didn't ask us for paying for the structured dialogue." So then we went with this first one. But will it be common? No. I mean, not no. Will it be common? It depends on the strategy of the notified body. This is a notified body strategy. Because it's a private company, notified body, and they have the right to do a structured dialogue. But I understand also that they will involve some resources, because, for example, on the first notified body structured dialogue, there was 4 people with 3 experts and 1 commercial. So it's resources that you are involving during 1 hour for discussing, etc. So it's an investment also. So I can understand that some of them wants to make also a cost above it, because we have maybe some manufacturers that are abusing of the system to ask questions that are maybe worth to be done after that they signed the agreement for that. So, but I don't know. I hope it will not be common, but it's a strategy.
Some of them might not have a choice with the changes that have been proposed to the MDR and IVDR around the notified body fees. They're going to look for because for certain size organizations, there's heavy discounts. So that's a way that notified bodies are going to have to look at, well, how do we deal with this stuff? So it very well might be a common thing, but not really for us to kind of
exactly. She was saying also, I was surprised too. I find only one notified body that indicated the price for studio. To be honest, I didn't check myself. I mean, it's one member of my team that is doing those discussion with notified bodies. But this person didn't check the website to check if there is a price there, because for us it was obvious that it's not
free. Yeah.
It's free, if I can say. For me, it was obvious. It's the first discussion. It's just a clarification that this product, they understand it, that they make it, etc., etc. It was fine. So
yeah,
but yeah,
yeah.
I said normally they have to mention the price on their website for their service, but usually what they are putting, they just put the hourly rate to say here is the hourly rate for working. But maybe now there is a change on their price page where they are sharing more information about that. But yeah, as said, a notified body costs a lot of money, so choose it. It's why also what I told also to this IVDR company, I said, I understand that they want to choose one quickly, but remember that you will be engaged like a wedding, if I can say, or marriage. You get engaged with this company for a long time, so I hope you liked it also from the beginning. So it's not like just take it because you need to take somebody. So it's really important, because changing a notified body is possible, but it's a nightmare. So it's not really an easy task. So I prefer that you are already investigating a bit of time to choose the notified body. Before you discover that they are not really what you thought they are. So it's really important.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think we arrive at the end now. We passed.
10 minutes over, yeah. I need to go play paddle.
Yeah, great. So, how did you find it? Was good?
It's good. I think it's good. I think we need to let's keep it up. Let's keep it moving.
So again,
thank you to everyone that contributed as well. It's really, really good conversation.
Exactly, yeah.
Really
again, for people that want maybe to ask some question or that we are also creating this community of Medtech Open Office, we have this somewhere here.
Yeah.
The QR code.
Yeah.
You can show it. You are closer to it.
Exactly. Right up there.
Yeah, the QR code here. If you can just scan it, and then you will see mainly the group for on WhatsApp, and we can also then use this group to reserve questions that we can do during the next Medtech Open Office. And don't hesitate also to send us messages if you have any questions.
Website coming soon.
We are creating a website also. So we have now the WhatsApp group. We are creating the website. We try to make it more organized. It was like just something launched quickly for seeing if it's interesting, but we see that people are coming to listen to us or to ask us questions. So so thanks again for everybody for that, and don't hesitate to tell us more.
Cool.
So it was great. Thank you, Azorgana. So
thank you,
Azorgana. You were the one asking most of the questions. So great.
And Denise. So thank you, Denise.
Also, this also.
Règlement 2016-27.
I see another question from Anis. Sorry, Anis, we will not be able to answer that. But now, what about use reglement 2026? What is this one? I don't know those numbers by heart, so I have no clue. But let's take it for maybe another Medtech Open Office. But can you check quickly what is this about?
That's around the recent changes for the notified body changes, I believe.
For the
requirements for how not
okay. I didn't read it, so let's read it and maybe come next week or the week after. I don't know when we'll do that, so let's do that maybe in a few weeks again.
Anis, what we will commit to you is that will be the first question we will answer on the next Medtech.
Exactly. Let's ask ChatGPT first.
All right, cool.
Okay, guys. Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everybody. And I wish you a nice day. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.